The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling, starting on page 47. The monkey people want us to notice them, Baloo went on, but we do not, even when they torment us and throw nuts and filth on our heads, which they love to do. No sooner were the words out of his mouth than a shower of nuts, twigs, and dirt rained upon them. Angry howls echoed from the treetops above. Baloo and Bagheera led Mowgli away, but the monkey people followed. They were very pleased with themselves, for Baloo, Bagheera, and Mowgli had noticed them. As the monkeys followed Mowgli and his friends, one of the monkey people got an idea. He realized that if Mowgli were in their tribe, he could teach them all sorts of useful things, like how to build huts to protect them from the wind. And so the monkey people decided to kidnap the man cub. Baloo and Bagheera led Mowgli through the jungle until it was time for the midday nap. By now, Mowgli was feeling very ashamed of himself, and as he settled down between the panther and the bear, he vowed to have nothing more to do with the monkey people. The next thing Mowgli knew, he was being pulled upward by hard, strong little hands. Then branches swiped at his face, and he was staring down through the trees, while Baloo's angry cry filled the jungle, and Bagheera bounded up a tree trunk with a low growl, teeth bared. Howling with glee, the Bandar log lifted Mowgli higher and higher. They laughed and shouted, "Bagheera has noticed us again. All of the jungle sees we are skillful and cunning." Mowgli hung on for dear life. Two of the strongest monkeys held Mowgli by the arms, zooming up and down their roads and crossroads nearly 100 feet above the ground. Mowgli tried to enjoy the rush, but mostly he felt sick as he was jerked up and down, forward and backward, and sometimes flung through the air, his heart in his throat. Sometimes he could see for miles over the treetops. Then he would be hurled downward, and branches would lash across his face. At first, Mowgli was afraid of being dropped. Then he became angry, and finally he began to think. He had to send word back to Bagheera and Baloo, for the monkeys were traveling so fast that his friends would soon be left behind. Looking up, Mowgli saw Ran, the kite, soaring in the air as he waited for his next meal. Ran noticed right away that the monkeys were carrying something, so he swooped in to see what it was and if it was good to eat. When he saw that it was the man cub, he whistled in surprise. Mowgli quickly called out the master words for birds, as Baloo had taught him. Ran could see Mowgli's little brown face appearing and disappearing between the branches. "Mark my trail," Mowgli said, "and tell Baloo the bear and Bagheera the panther." "In whose name, brother?" Ran called. The kite had heard of Mowgli, but had never actually met him. "Mowgli, the man cub!" Mowgli shrieked as he was swung through the air. Ran nodded, then rose higher above the trees and hung in one place, watching the flight of the Bandar log and their prisoner to see where they were going. Down in the jungle, Baloo and Bagheera were sick with worry. "What if they drop him?" Baloo fretted. "What if Mowgli forgets the master words? Oh, put dead bats on my head. Give me black bones to eat. I am the most miserable of bears." He threw himself down on the ground and rocked back and forth, moaning. "The man cub is wise and well taught," Bagheera said calmly, "and he has eyes that make the jungle people afraid. But the Bandar log fear no one and cannot be trusted." Suddenly, Baloo sat up. Hathi, the wild elephant, says, to each his own fear. The Banderlog fear Ka, the python. The mere whisper of his name makes their wicked tails cold, for he stills monkeys in the night, and Ka is always hungry. We shall go to him. Baloo and Bagheera found Ka stretched out on a warm rock in the afternoon sun. The giant snake was admiring his new skin, for he had been in seclusion for the past 10 days while shedding his old one. Darting his blunt nose head along the ground, he twisted and coiled and knotted the 30 feet of his body. Ka was not a poisonous snake, but he had the power to hypnotize, and his hug was deadly. Each time he licked his lips, he thought of his next meal. He has not eaten recently, Baloo said, sounding relieved. He will be eager to hunt the Banderlog. But be careful, Bagheera. Ka is always a little blind after he has changed his skin and is quick to attack. Good hunting, cried Baloo as he approached the snake. Bagheera came up behind Baloo slowly, for he did not know Ka well and was weary of him. Good hunting for us all, Ka replied. Is there any news of game afoot? I am as empty as a dried well. We are hunting, said Baloo, casually. He did not want Ka to know how much he and Bagheera needed his help. Allow me to come with you, Ka said, or I shall have to wait for days on a wood path and climb half a night for the chance at a young ape. I came very near to falling on my last hunt, and the noise of my almost falling waked the Banderlog. They called me the most evil names. Footless, yellow earthworm, murmured Bagheera, putting the name into Ka's head. Did they call me that? Ka asked with a low hiss. Something like that, Bagheera replied. They will say anything, even that you have lost your teeth and dare not hunt anything bigger than a baby goat, because you are afraid of the ram's horns. Ka's black eyes were steady, but Baloo and Bagheera could see the muscles on his throat ripple and bulge with anger. It is the Banderlog that we follow now, said Baloo. Those nut stealers and pickers of palm leaves have stolen our man cub, Bagheera added. Have you heard of him? I heard news from Ikki the porcupine of a manling that was part of the wolf pack. But Ikki is full of stories that are half heard and badly told. I did not believe. It is true, said Baloo. He is the best and wisest and boldest of man cubs. We love him, Ka. Our man cub is in the treacherous little hands of the Bandarlog, who fear Ka alone, said Bagheera. They have good reason to fear me, said Ka, chattering, foolish, vain creatures. We must remind them to speak well of their master. Where have they taken the manling? Toward the sunset, I believe, said Baloo, though the jungle alone knows. Just then a cry came from above, up, up. Hilo, Elo, look up, Baloo. Ran the kite, was soaring overhead, the sun shining on the edges of his wings. I have seen Mowgli among the Bandarlog, and he asked me to tell you. They have taken him to Monkey City, the cold lairs. That is my message. We'll stop there.